Hey everyone, welcome back to Conversations in Pop Culture, and we are back in the saddle once again for another season. And I have with me legendary voice actor Barry Yandell. So welcome to the
Hey,
show.
everybody.
Oh man,
Honored to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Andrew.
yeah, no, I am very excited. I am very excited because there are roles that I know you from that I grew up watching you.
Uh,
Yoki from Full Metal Alchemist, Mr. Tuban Clay, Bob from Fairy Tale, William Spears from Black Butler, and a few others that I promise we are going to get to. But before we get into all of that, I am curious how you got into voice acting because you've been doing it for a good 20 plus years at this point.
that's right. Well, I will share with you, and I always treat that question if it's the first time anybody's hearing it. I've probably said it about 2,800 times at this point. So if you want the really detailed version, there are interviews all over the interwebs that you can watch. But for your show, I will give you the answer. Before I start, I have a favorite. Hold on. You know that cough drop over there? We found. Would you bring it to me? I've got a little tickle in my throat. So the story goes, and I'm incredibly proud of it because in the arts, a lot of time it's cutthroat, and there's just a lot of evil and mean people out there in the world. But I'm happy to share that I worked like a dog to become an actor, stage and screen, mainly stage. Be jealous of me. I was like gifted my career as a voice actor, but it came from helping a friend. So I think the universe rewarded me. So here's the way the story goes. First day of summer, because I was teaching school, and a girlfriend of mine from college called it. Yes, it was over 20 years ago. We had, you youngsters out there, we had cell phones, but we didn't have navigation. And she called me in a panic. She does film and stage and stuff, and one of the top agents in Dallas. And she goes, Barry, I'm so glad you answered. I was driving home to start my summer, baby. And she goes, my agent got me an audition for this place called Funimation, and I I can't find it. And I knew you grew up in the area. And could you help me? Do you know where it is? I said, I don't. Meet me in the parking lot of Kentucky Fried Chicken. I'm not kidding you. No time for a snack. But she followed me. Dude, we were in the parking lot. So Funimation is now an empire. Trust me, it's phenomenal. But in the early days, it was on two floors of a bank building. And they had a couple little boxes we stood in. I mean, we're talking mom and pop beginner studio. And again, now it's an empire owned by Sony. Um, so we were in the parking lot. Of course, she couldn't get me on the phone. If y'all want to call Crunchyroll, it's like, okay, you might have better luck having someone answer at the White House. Um, but somehow she got someone on the phone and she pulled up next to me and she goes, they said they've had a cancellation and they'll still see me. And I went, oh, that's great. Hey, what about me? Well, I had not really done any voice act. I'd done a little. I was the voice of a roller coaster at Six Flags Over Texas. I was the voice of a penguin for a Neiman Marcus Christmas show. And I did a voiceover, like a commercial voiceover for Terry Bradshaw for his ranch, only because I taught his kids. So I really didn't have a lot of experience. But she goes, oh, thank you. My friend is here with me. He's a professional actor. He was wondering if you got to cancel it. Oh, oh. She said, they said no. Well, I went anyway. Now I'm not nervous. I auditioned on Broadway. I have to purposely work up nerves, but I was nervous. And I walked in very professionally with my card, gave it to the receptionist, said, my name is Barry Yandell. If you get a cancellation, I'd love to. I said, I'll be outside in my car. And I was poor, so I wouldn't have been running the air conditioner. And this is like June in Texas. So if they would have had a cancellation, I would have come in sweating and all red, like, hi, I want to be a voice actor. And he said, so you've heard of your big break. This was my big break. He said, I wouldn't be able to help you. You need to talk to so and so. And I said, oh, really? And where might she be? As a matter of fact, she's walking through those glass doors now. The voice acting angel sang, ah. I was terrified, but I walked up very professionally, of course, probably shaking. My name is Barry Yandell. Um, if you should get a cancellation, here's my card. I would really appreciate. She cut me off, and she said, "I know you," and I was like, oh, "Those mugshots." No, I had just finished doing a show that ran for 3 years, a stage show. It's how I got my equity card. Fans that know what that is. It was called Forever Plaid. I did it the last 8 months. So we were kind of local celebrities, so people knew who we were, asked for autographs at dinner and stuff. It was kind of freaky. And for all you sci-fi or horror fans out there, the guy I replaced, I adore. His name is Paul Taylor. He moved to New York to do an off-Broadway show, but his most recent credits, not in the very last Hellraiser, but in earlier, he was Pinhead. And you might be able to see him at your local Comic-Con. But anyway, she recognized me from the stage. She goes, I know who you are. And I was like, oh, Forever Plaid? Because, I was really cocky about it. She goes, no. We used to compete against each other in college. We didn't go to the same undergrad. There's a thing called American College Theater Festival, and your shows can be. Anyway, and I got a little bit more comfort. And I said, really? Did you win or did I? And she goes, well, probably you because you were so good. And I said, thanks for the compliment. If you really believe that, if you get a cancellation, is there any way I can get an audition, please? She goes, oh, please. I know what you can do. You don't need a cancellation. Follow me. So she took me back into the room with all the wannabes, and my friend's face lit up like, and then kind of like, wait a minute, how'd you get back here? I don't remember what happened that evening. They read me for something. And then they would call me back over the next 3 to 5 months. I would lay down my voice for something. Nothing happened. Patience, guys, patience. And it was kind of fun, and it was close to where my parents lived and kind of where I lived. And then one night they called me in, and they introduced me to the director who looked like he was 12. I was like, great. Christopher Bevins, he's a very successful actor and director who lives in LA now. But, and they read me for this villain. Okay, fans, full disclosure, I have not seen most of my work. It's not because I don't think my shows are beautiful. I love to hear my character voices. I hate my real Texas twang. I have never been officially diagnosed with ADHD or medicated, and you probably have already sensed, you will by the end of this, I am poster child. But I hadn't watched them. But anyway, fans, I know, but I'm proud of it. My very first role ever was a villain named Doll Taki who turned people into dolls on a show, I know, called Dragon Ball GT. I know. A few of you out there love it. Most of you hate it. I don't care. It jump-started my career. And so then, this is before social media, and the fans apparently liked me. They call me in, got a little bump in pay. I was fine with what I was getting. Plus, it was fun. And then, I do not say this lightly. I say this with blessed gratitude. I don't really audition for my roles at Crunchyroll or Okratron. Now, I'm just called in. Occasionally, I will, but they just know that I'm professional. I do what they want. I follow direction well. In fact, I learned at a recent panel where all the Spy Family, that's my latest hit show. For those of you that are fans, you're looking elegant today. But I found out I was the only actor, and I didn't know it until I was on a panel with all the big ones, Anya and whatever. And the director said the only actor that did not audition for this role was Barry Yandell for Headmaster Henderson, because we saw the character and we said nobody else could play this part. So I'm very, very fortunate. even though it was long. That's the Reader's Digest version. I was handed my career as a voice actor. And every once in a while, I'll forget how fortunate I am because work becomes work. And I'll go into the booth and I'll remind myself, you were so fortunate to be, because going to Crunchyroll like now is like going to Walmart. But I remind myself it's a very special, truly enchanted place. And I'm very fortunate. So the fans out there, thank you so much. Y'all don't know how much you mean to us. If you meet us at a con and you're complimentary, you probably think we're like, oh, yes. And maybe some voice actors are. But most of them, I know, we really are very appreciative of your love. Your turn.
So I want to dive into some of your roles because obviously, I mean, you have a lot of them, and I want to start with two that are a little bit off the beaten path. And one of them is early, and it's Initial D because I know you're the narrator in Initial D, and I love cars. I love car racing. I like anything that has a motor in it. I don't know if it's in my DNA, but I know you're the narrator in that. I know you were for the entire first stage, and then I think for the second stage too. And that's an old one. And that's kind of an interesting role because I don't know how much acting goes into narration, but it's very important to that show.
Yeah. Well, I love that you said that. And you're right. It was a long time ago. And I did it at this little satellite studio way out of the way. It wasn't actually at Funimation, which it was at the time. And it reminded me, it was special to me because growing up, you know, I'm old. I'm not as old as people think I am. I will be 55 in July, but I keep getting offered senior citizen discounts for 65 or older. Okay. I don't color my hair. I don't wear contacts, and I'm getting fat. But you know what? As a voice actor, it doesn't matter. I have a face for radio. Nobody cares what I look like. Except for people that are fans of William T. Spears. And I know when they meet me, they're like, oh, that's not what I had in mind. It's my only sexy nerd I get to play. Initial D. It reminded me of the only anime I really remember growing up on. I didn't know it was anime at the time, Speed Racer. Maybe there was Thundercats or something like that. I don't know. And it's funny because it's one of those roles that I didn't really remember. Okay. People are like, you were on Tokyo Ghoul? I'm like, okay, yeah, I think so. I don't remember. You know, it's not like Bon Clay or William T. Spears. I just got back this weekend from Minnesota. And a year ago in Minnesota, this guy came up, just this lovely guy, with an Initial D shirt. And he goes, and I went, whoa, I haven't thought about that for years. He goes, it's my favorite. I am now his ringtone on his phone. When he gets a call, you hear Initial D. And I'm not going to say this. I hope I don't come across as crass, but it's funny. Initial D is all in Japanese, except the guy says, please, I don't mean this rude at all, but it's funny. He goes, Initial D. So I turned that into Initial D. And I usually was, I think, correct me, right before we broke for commercial or whatever, and I think I narrated a little. Dude, that has been so long ago. But thank you for the love of it. I'm honored that you love cars so much that you love my Initial D, which I am not known for, except for a couple of people. So thank you.
It's an old one. It's an old one.
It is an old one.
Off the beaten path, but a lot of people have been in it, and a lot of legendary voice actors have been in that show. It's a crazy.
Let me ask you this. Speaking of little known, I always forget my login because I can watch for free, but I watched this show. Sorry, Crunchyroll, I'm giving away your secrets. I watched the entire series. It was like 12 episodes on YouTube for free, maybe with ads. Have you heard of SSSS Gridman?
I do know of SS Gridman.
The fans call it Gridman or Quad. Ooh, boy, are you handy. Originally, the live action voiced by Tim Curry. That one held my interest. I've only watched 2 or 3 of my shows. I watched all of that one and the first season of Spy Family. I have never seen Black Butler. Someday. I've never seen Soul Eater, although I know I like it. I've never seen Full Metal or Brotherhood. And I've never seen One Piece, but I don't think I have enough time on Earth if I start watching it now to finish that series.
Yeah, no, let's actually talk about Full Metal Alchemist
Okay.
because I love Full Metal Alchemist.
I've heard it's great, and people have told me it would be a great intro show for anime to get me into the world of anime.
I had a friend who just put out a tweet and said, "What is the one show that you would want to show somebody to bring them into anime?" Full Metal Alchemist. I think the first one is great. I think Brotherhood was even better. But you're Yoki in that show, and what's crazy about that? And for those who don't know, this is Yoki.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't know. Obviously, somewhat of an important character. I think he's in the first episode of the first one. Something happens to him, a little crooked, but sort of goes on a path of redemption. And then, what was that like coming into this? First one was great, and then getting called back for Brotherhood because
Well, funny. First of all, you hit on something great, which is what I love so much about Bon Clay. I love characters that have an arc that start as villains and then they become friends and then they sacrifice or whatever. So, which clearly Bon Clay, and I'll tell you later, the tears and Impel Down were
don't
real.
ruin it. Don't
I
ruin
know,
it.
stop it. So, Yoki, I don't ever watch this stuff. I finished FMA. They call me in 2 or 3 years later, I think. And y'all don't know, we have no preparation. We do not get the script ahead of time. Sometimes I don't even know what the title is. They may say who I'm going to work with. Are you available? Sure. I go in, literally, like I am now, kick off my shoes. Let's do it. What's going on? The director tells us a little something, and I just access it somehow. So they said, we're going to do a little FMA. I went, oh, cool. That's great. What are we doing? They pull up his picture. I said, okay, y'all know I don't watch this, but didn't I die? They go, yeah, it's Brotherhood, it's anime, it's manga. You're still alive. I was like, well, me, Lazarus, and Jesus. I was like, okay, I've been resurrected from the dead. So that's why Yoki is special to me.
And then even to get to reprise the role, because I know they brought a lot of people back for Brotherhood, but some people I think aged out of their roles. And then also certain characters I think were either eliminated or didn't exist. And so that had to be dealt with. But even to come back into that show and then to do it the regular edition and then to have it more traditional to the manga and have it have, I guess be an even better effect than the first time it was shown. And what was that like? Because it's a very cool thing, especially considering that the first one wasn't that far off from the second one as far as time, and obviously working is working. And so that's the other thing too that's probably nice as well.
You know what? I would love to give you a fabulous, really detailed, interesting answer for that. I have no idea because I didn't know what the first one. I still haven't ever seen it. I know there's that Alphonse character that Aaron Dismuke. What a sweetheart. I love him when we get to appear together. And he actually lives, by the way, I'm currently in Fort Worth, Texas. Where are you?
I'm in Connecticut.
One place I have never been and I would love to go. I'll be in New York, January 13th, and then Italy, and then back in New York, Connecticut. Wow. But Aaron, I don't have an answer for you. I just know that they would play me a reference of what I did before. And people, they're so sweet on fans on social media. Happy birthday to the man of 1,000 voices. I don't have 1,000 voices. I have like 9, and I tweet. So I hate to ruin the magic of it. Yoki has a little bit of Bon Clay in him. Bon Clay has a little Yoki. Harry Henderson, the Spy Family, has a little bit of. I really have like 7 or 8 voices. I wish that I was, and I am known for my range. I play a wide range of characters, and I'm thankful. Thank you so much for the love. But I really don't have that many voices. I can do impersonations, but they don't want impersonations, of already existing characters. But I'm sorry, I'm rambling. ADHD, LMNOP, VCR, LGBTQ, but I don't remember it. I do remember, like I said, being like, wait a minute, didn't I die? But since I don't know the show, my characters, I try to play as real people. They're usually a little elevated, little anime shtick. but I try to just approach it honestly with how they would really react or true feelings. And because I'm trained for the stage, and I will tell you, directors say this: if you want to be a voice actor, you get out and you train for the stage, you do community theater, whatever, because the best voice actors are real actors. They're trained for the stage. I think the best, don't take offense, because it doesn't mean if you're not musical, you can't have a career. I think the very best voice actors are those that have a background in music, musical theater. You understand your instrument, you understand the terminology. One time I was working on an RPG, which I just recently learned what that meant. I didn't know what that meant. I thought it was like miles per gallon or so. RPG, with a wonderful director. And she had never worked with me before. And it was a character on a show called Tales of Luminaria. I don't think it really went anywhere, and she needed a British butler. And Christopher Sabat, who I adore, you know him as Vegeta and All Might and whatever. He owns a studio, and she goes, "I'm looking for the British butler." He goes, "Hello, Barry Yandell." Just, "Oh, really? You think he would work?" He's like, "Trust me." And so she started working with me. She goes, "Oh my God, you're so directable." I said, "Well, thank you." She goes, "Are you a stage actor?" I said, "I am." She goes, "Notice I didn't say, are you a real actor?" So, because voice acting is really more cold reading than it is acting. And I know my voice actor friends don't like when I say that. But if I'm for stage, if I'm going to play Sweeney Todd, I am Sweeney Todd for 2 weeks before opening. People don't like to be around me because I be in character. This, I go in, see a picture, they tell me something about it. It's like a bird. Whatever comes out, comes out. And while I'm on this, even before we talk about, I'm happy to do this for you. I actually enjoy it. The fact that you even care about my career, I'm like, okay. But the fact that there is no pop of any of my characters after 20 years is criminal. So fans, oh you big time. I understand there's no pop of William T. Spears. What would it be? A black tie and glasses? That's boring. Yoki, maybe. But Mr. Two Bon Clay, are you kidding me?
Yes.
It's criminal. And I'm going to, before we even go on to that, and I shouldn't say this, I've heard a rumor. Voice actors are saying at the studio, I'm the big talk, and I've asked. And after 15 years or whatever, I've heard that I may be returning as Mr. Two Bon Clay. But don't tell anybody, it'll just be our little secret. Wouldn't that be amazing? And if I don't get a pop after that, y'all don't realize a pop changes a voice actor's life. Please, all of you watching out there, love you, mean it. Change my life. I need a pop.
Me and Daniel Ba were speaking about that with Jim Bay and his pop coming in. It was a big deal. And then legitimately like two days after that interview came out, the pop was announced. And I'm like,
your career changes even more than money, which is nice, but it changes your life. And the fact that I've got friends that have like 5 and 6, and I don't have one, I don't get jealous or envious much. I am. So contact Funko Pop and tell them shame on them. I have hordes of people that are taking on that responsibility because of their love for me. So do that.
So let's actually talk about Mr. Two Bon Clay, because I love Mr. Two Bon Clay.
Thank you, as do I.
He's such an enjoyer.
You know what? Yes, I created his voice, but it's like another person. It's like it's not me. And I have watched some scenes with him. I do love him. I have an interesting story for you, but go ahead.
So, like, coming into this, because Mr. Two Bon Clay is a villain, but is a conflicted villain in certain ways, and is a fun villain.
The arc, he changes. That's what I love.
Even in Alabasta, he's fascinating. And what is this like, getting to voice this character? Because One Piece is the ultimate show, I feel, where people can come in and out. And if you're in Texas and you work for Funimation and you're not in One Piece, you're doing something wrong. I'm not saying you have to be the star. That's not what I'm saying, everybody. But if you don't have 10 episodes in One Piece and you work for Funimation or Crunchyroll, you're doing something wrong.
Well, I was truly honored. And I will tell you this. While he is not my very favorite character I've ever voiced. I know him the best, so he's right up there. I'll share that other tidbit a little later. I tend to play, and I have kind of been typecast, and I don't mind it, but I play lots of military soldier A, soldier B. I don't care. The money's the same. I just don't continue it on. I play flamboyant, kooky gods, monsters, drag queens, villains. I mean, Bob from Fairy Tale, who, FYI, was based on my evil high school algebra teacher. And somehow I feel, I've never said her name. I feel like she knows by now. Hi, Miss Yorth. Oops. Because she once told me, let's face it, because I was really smart but not in math. She goes, let's face it, Barry, you're never going to have a career that involves analytical thinking. She was right. I'm an actor. But this kooky guy with swans on his shoulder, crawling up on a boat all wet. I mean, this is heaven for me. Ballet Kempo and swans never die. I was in heaven. I still have his introduction on my demo. By the way, my demo's on YouTube. Watch it, like it. It's such a bad demo. It's very professional, but it's like a minute too long. It's cheesy. But when he crawls up on board and says, thanks. I thought I was going to die there. You saved me. I hate to trouble you, but could I trouble you for a cup of warm soup? The chicken noodle will do. I love him. And the most common comment I get, and I'm honored at Comic-Cons, are fans that are all nervous and whatever. They're like, I'm sorry, I've just never met anybody famous before. I said, you still haven't. What's your question? And they say, in Impel Down, I don't cry much. These will be like military dudes. I don't cry much. I cried. I was bawling like a baby. And I said, well, that's interesting, because I was too in the booth. I was so in character. The tears were real on Save Yourself, Straw Boy. Swans never die. In fact, it's almost embarrassing to admit. Like I said, I don't normally get fully into character unless it's a fleshed out character like Buckley. After I finished that scene, I was bawling and I kind of sat down. I very rarely record sitting down. I'm almost always standing up, being grounded with the earth. They tapped on the window and they mouthed, are you okay? And I was still in character. I was like, I just need a moment. And then I drop the character. I go out, talk to him outside the booth. I'm like, well, guys, that was kind of intense, wasn't it? Okay, well, but the tears were real. And it is such an honor. But before I ramble too much longer, interesting story. Some of you might have seen the special feature on a DVD. Remember what those are? Where, the actor commentary where we just talk. And by the way, y'all think those are scripted. They hit record and we just talk. We don't know what we're going to say. But a very brilliant director and voice actor named Mike McFarland. I was not originally Mr. Toubon Clay. He was. And he did a couple of episodes and maybe a video game. I don't know. He told me this. And he was recording. He goes, guys, I am so wrong for this part. I miscast. You need to call someone like Barry Yandell. They called me. I became Mr. Toubon Clay. He became, wait for it, Buggy the Clown.
Yes.
Yes. When I tell that story, people lay eggs. Because he's brilliant. I love working with him. The last project I did a couple of weeks ago, people were already talking about, I know nothing about it. It's called Hell's Paradise. But I adore him. I worked on Double Decker with him, One Piece, a number of shows. And I love him. And I don't get to work with him often, but it's always a real treat when I do. My audition, I actually did audition for a little show you might have heard of called Chainsaw Man that he directs. Well, everybody and their dog is on Chainsaw Man. But they record during business hours when I'm teaching. But I reached out to him. I said, congratulations on the success of your show. I want to be on the show. Guess who hasn't been on Chainsaw yet? Well, maybe someday. Yeah?
So let's talk about Impel Down and that, Mr. Toubon Clay, because...
And remember, I've never seen it, but I've seen clips. Go ahead.
but you know the whole intensity of it, where Mr. Tubon Clay leaves after Alabasta. The Straw Hats move on to a bunch of different things. And in One Piece, I guess the rule is that if a character doesn't die on screen, they are either dead or they're not. It's unknown. And you don't know when they're going to come back. And so, what was that like where you find out that you're back and now you're in prison and you're in the middle of staging a breakout to some degree?
Yeah.
And
A lot
it's
of people,
right?
a lot of people assumed I was dead. And I think for a while, I assumed, I don't remember, do I go off in the snow or, I don't know. At one scene, I go off in the snow. I don't know if it's in Piltown, I don't know. But it was, this sounds so cheesy, but most of my characters I don't get to know so well. Even though we didn't know if he was dead or not, I went through a period of mourning because since I wasn't voicing him anymore, he was dead to me. And that's, I know most people are like, big deal. It is a big deal. I had to say goodbye to him. So I'm not that into anime, but when I found out, probably in the last year or two, no, for those of you who don't know, I am not dead. I am currently the queen of Impel Down. Yes. I've been the queen of a lot of places, but never Impel Down. And like I said, I hope I don't get in trouble for this, because there's a lot of non-disclosure. But, well, then Crunchyroll, if you don't want me to talk about this, then fill me in. But some voice actors who I adore, my agent, Envy from Full Metal Alchemist, never mind. I won't say their names because they were like, well, were your ears burning? I was like, what's going on? What's going on? You were the talk at the studio last night or whatever. I said, what? Tell me. It's about One Piece, and apparently Mr. 2 is coming back. I was like, what? So then I go in to record, I don't know what shows. And a brilliant director, voice actor, he is also on Spy Family. I think his name is Frankie, Anthony Boeing. I adore him. And as I do most of the directors, it's just a world of love in the voice acting. Unlike theater, where the director said to me when I was 18, you got a picture. Not that it matters, even with pride. You got a picture. She's wearing Dickies, pointed cowboy boots, chain smoking lesbian, no makeup whatsoever except for bright pink lips. Honey, this is supposed to be musical comedy. You're about as funny as a dead baby's open grave. She said that to me. Or, honey, picture this taxi cab pulls up. Nobody gets out. That's you on stage. Well, you would think I would hate her. By the way, she's dead. I feel nothing. But she gave me a thick skin, and I will forever be grateful for that. But I asked Anthony, I don't know how I got off on that, but Anthony, I've been just quizzing him. So, you don't want to be nosy or pry too much. What's the deal? And, the movie Red came out, which I was jealous because it took over Times Square. I had nothing to do with it. I was in Broly and that superheroes. Nothing rolls, not important. I don't get invited to the premiere. I think it's an orange carpet premiere in LA or whatever. I'm not that important. Maybe someday you'll get someone really important on your show, but I want to know. So apparently what I can piece together is not real soon, like there's another arc or something, but then maybe the next one. And those that follow the manga know more. Apparently I'm coming back, which I think would be huge for my career, and the fans would love it after 15 or however many years ago I originally voiced him. And if he doesn't get a pop by then, well, look out. You better watch your backs, Funko.
Let's actually talk about Alabasta. I had John Swayze on a little while ago, and Alabasta is sort of a big deal right now in One Piece because the game just came out maybe 3 months ago where the Straw Hats go revisit what happened in Alabasta. And it's a big deal. And I bought the game, not for the game, but because it had a cool statue attached to it. I know. I'm like the anti-video game guy. But totally worth $120 for the statue. And the game's a good time too, but the statue is worth more.
What is the statue of?
It's Luffy and one of like the characters, and it's just a really cool statue. And it's the type of thing that I want, that I know that in 3-4 years from now, somebody's gonna want it, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, you got that? That's cool." So,
By the
no,
way, Luffy, Colleen Clinkenbeard, is just lovely. She was my director for a couple of shows, but I'm not on the series of My Hero, but I'm in the second movie called Two Heroes. And I didn't remember my character was like the main villain, and the plot turned on him when I went to the premiere. But I adore her, and she's so sweet to me. Now, she has a reputation, I don't know if you'll see this, Colin, as being one of the pickiest directors. She's very precise. She cares about you fans. She wants it to be perfect. And while the average actor might get a little frustrated, I take it as a badge of honor that she just wants to make me my best. I have not worked with her in years. Well, since Two Heroes, I guess. She mainly works during business hours when I'm teaching, but um, someday soon. So if you're a fan of Luffy, know that Colleen Clinkenbeard is lovely as a human being, as well as being a wonderful character.
but it's just big that Alabasta's big, and obviously Von Clay's associated with Alabasta and Impel Down and a bunch of other stuff. And obviously, I mean, this character is loved in One Piece in so many ways. And what is that like for you? And I know you haven't seen all of One Piece, but you've seen clips of
Yeah,
your character, and
I
you
will
have
tell you. I
you
will
know what
tell you. I'll tell you a little bit of what it's like for me. And y'all might think that it would make me cocky. It's very humbling. It's truly very humbling when people come up and say, I made them cry, I'm their favorite, whatever. It's very humbling. But one time, I think I was in West Virginia. And these are moments that actors live for. Yeah, it seems kind of cocky, but it doesn't cost me anything. I can change someone's life. So I'm in West Virginia, and I try to walk around the little exhibition just to get a taste of it. I can't always because of timing issues. I decided to walk around. And I heard this young man go into a vendor, kind of walk into this little maze. And I overheard him saying, do you have any figurines of Mr. Tubon Clay? And they said, oh, no, we don't. Which, by the way, not many do. I think some of them might be illegal or something. I'm going to figure out the stats on it, see if I can market them myself, because it would make me, it'd pay a lot of bills. There's the love for One Piece and Mr. Two. And they told him no. He goes, oh, okay, I'll just move on. And I said, excuse me. He's like, yes. A little taken aback. I said, I heard you were asking for a figurine of Bon Clay or whatever. I said, you like One Piece? You like Mr. Two Bon Clay? He goes, oh, I love him. There's lots of noise out on my street. I love him, whatever. I said, have you ever met the voice actor of Mr. Two Bon Clay? He goes, no, I would die to. I said, how do you do? My name is Barry. And he was like, what? I said, this is weird, but I happen to be the voice actor for Mr. Two Bon Clay. And he didn't believe me, I don't think, until I said, Swans Given Day. And he was freaking out. And it made me so happy. I didn't make a bit. And you know that normally there's costs for selfies and stuff. It turned into an autograph selfie. Said he called his friends over. I bet I spent 5 minutes on a photo shoot with him. Didn't make a dime. Didn't charge me a dime. It's moments like those that are truly special. Yeah, it makes us feel important and good, but it's actually very humbling that someone cares that much about your work, So whoever you are in West Virginia, I don't remember your name. Thank you I gave you a gift, but it really was a gift to me.
Yeah, no, I think it's very important, in which that I make an argument that you need to, I guess, protect the community and encourage goodwill, because I come from the world that if I didn't watch anime legally and I didn't support anime legally, it wouldn't exist. and this wouldn't get made. And I think it's a real issue sometimes in business. I have a lot of friends in comics, I have a lot of friends in cosplay, professional wrestling, and I think they forget that their fans are their bloodline. And that I'm not saying you have to give everything away for free. That's not what I'm
No.
saying. But you also have to understand that you need a little bit of a healthy balance.
Yeah. If it wasn't for the fans, the con organizers, that I always gift the staffers and whatever, and they're shocked, like, you're giving me something I don't have to pay. But I say, you know what? If it wasn't for you, and especially the fans, I would not have this life. So I think I can honestly say that while a lot of my theater and film friends are not as loving and whatever and forget and think that they're a much bigger deal than they are, voice actors realize we're not Keanu Reeves. I think most of us have really good hearts and are appreciative, very approachable. Don't you dare be nervous to talk to. I mean, everybody has a bad day. If I'm walking down the hall of a hotel and I'm on the phone and I look stressed, maybe it's not the best time to be, hey, love Bug Clay, or want to interact with me. But as far as my table, come up to my table. You don't have to spend money. Just ask me questions. Now, if a line develops, they're going to hand me money. Step to the side, be courteous, and you can stand there for an hour if you want to ask me questions. But I think that most voice actors are very appreciative of fans, and we realize what you just said. Were it not for those people, we would, I don't know, be working in a deli or something.
And then I do want to back out of Clay and briefly
Yeah.
touch upon Bob.
Uh-huh.
I love Bob.
I do too, and there's a lot of love for Bob. I think I have one more left. I had bright pink canvas tote bags of Bob. But like I told you before, based on my algebra teacher, because I didn't want to go typical, oh, I'm going to do my totally gay voice, whatever. I just got to put him up in my head, and he's just, even though she was kind of evil, he's really sweet and nice.
Very nice
So,
in so many ways. And just
I do love him. I have magnets and pins and prints of him. So, yeah, I have a love for Bob.
Fairy Tale is just another beast of a show. It's just
I've
another.
heard it's brilliant, and I need to watch it. I remember filming the final episode, and Bob was not there, so I was just voices at a party. And if you knew, because for Wallace sessions means with all actors, they stack our voices for like crowd noises, and I don't tend to be really inappropriate, but I said a few little inappropriate phrases because you can't hear. And Sonny Strait was there. You know him as Krillin. And I would turn to him and just say these really, just little off color statements. And he'd be like, but once they mix them together, I guess if you're techno and you're really smart and had some way of separating those voices, you would hear some really interesting things that I said, not as Bob, just as a party guest.
So many things I could say. So many things I could say. But I'm going to table my inappropriateness for the time being.
Well, I'm not going to tell you exactly what I said, but it involves some drugstore items and ointments for both men and women, and some especially for women. Okay, Vagisil and Ritz crackers, and I forget what else, but anyway. Hi, students. Yeah, I can be inappropriate too. Whoops, lost my teaching job. Listen, if I lose a teaching job or saying the word Vagisil, it was meant to be.
And then I want to dive into another role that a lot of people know you for, but they're probably shocked when they see it because you already mentioned it. And this is Black Butler. And I think you've done like 4 seasons of this, which is
and a couple of movies.
Yeah, it's a crazy show. It's a great show. This is not what I think people expected when they see the voice actor.
No, it's the one sexy nerd I get to play. I've got the nerd down. We're still working on the sexy. I'll tell you something interesting. Ian Sinclair, you know him, Space Dandy, and He's brilliant. He directed me, and we had never met. And he called me in, and he goes, he was so sweet. He was like, I can't believe we've never met. Love your work, blah, blah, blah. And he said, so let me tell you about this. This show's going to be huge. And I went, great. And he goes, it's called Black Butler. And I went, what? I thought, I don't know that I can do this show. It sounded politically incorrect. It just didn't sound like something I wanted to be a part of. And then he explained, I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Well, he goes, please don't be offended if we don't go with you. It has to be perfect for the character. And we're auditioning a lot of people, so don't be offended. By the way, we're paying you to audition. I was like, y'all, that never happens. I was like, well, thanks. I guess had I been a major anime fan, I'd be so upset if I didn't get the role. I didn't, whatever. So he goes, he told me something about the character. He goes, just go ahead in the booth and here's the guy. Just give me a couple of lines. I was like, okay. My name is William T. Spears. I'm your instructor to guide you, mold you. Should you have any questions, feel free to. And he goes, oh, yeah, you're William. All right, let's just go ahead and start recording. Now, I'm surprised because of my repertoire that I was not cast as Grell. I mean, can't you see me, Von Clash, as Grell? But I wasn't, and I'm very thrilled because I love showing range. I could be sexy semi-villain, anyway. But little interesting thing for the fans, little known. You know, all my scenes with Grell, most of my scenes with Grell, I've never met the actor. Never. I think his name is Daniel Frederick. He's like disappeared. I've never met him. Because we record, you know, separately, right?
Yeah, what is that like? Because I obviously know, and I think a lot of people know that voice acting is a very, you know, individual thing, and then it's put together, and either you go first, and then it's put for the other person, they go first, or you alternate. But you know, because I've heard things where people didn't even know somebody was that voice actor or actress, and they're kind of like, "Oh, you're that person, and you're on my team." It's kind of a crazy thing. But what is that like that you've never met the person Grell, even though you know you're working on this show for
We have these scenes together. You think that we hang out together? Would you find my metal prints? Well, you know, at first it's very strange because we work off a beep system. So I'll hear 3 beeps and I'll know to start speaking where the imaginary 4th beep would be, but it doesn't exist. So I'll take a deep breath on the 3rd beep. So I either record to the other actor who's already recorded, or I will record to silence. That takes a little getting used to if you're used to the stage or screen. Well, screen, sometimes you record to silence with some pickups or whatever. But, you know, usually there's someone there you're playing the scene with. Although I've been on stage with some people and you would think that I wasn't there because they looked right through me and they won't look me in the eye. It's a bad sign of insecurity and a bad actor. But I won't mention any names, and some of them are dead. So, but it is sometimes challenging to play to silence. Yeah. And people will be like, oh, I'm such a fan of so-and-so and so-and-so. What does she like to work with? I'm like, I don't think I might have passed by her in the hallway at the studio. I don't think I've ever met her. But she played your daughter. What's your point? I have to remind myself, y'all don't know all that. Yeah. I've played opposite people I have never met. Or I'll meet them like 4 years later at a con. I'll be like, oh, we were like my agent, Wendy, who you know is Envy on Metal Alchemist. I watched a scene from One Piece. And she is, I think the scene we're in, she's maybe named Miss Merry Christmas. I don't know. And we have a whole scene together. We never even realized it. And I said, did you know? She goes, didn't know that. That's probably like 14 years later. And we're like best friends, and she represents me for booking for cons. Which, by the way, slight little commercial. I love cons. My brand is building, so I'm not as easy to get as I once was. So I'm a rock star. But I'm still new enough to cons. I've only done it like 4 or 5 years. I still love meeting you and hearing your stories. I don't care if you work fast food. That interests me because that's not something I do. I love hearing why you even care about my work. Thank you. Love you. I will appear on Christmas Day at your local con if my agent approves it. Wendy. So if your fans out there, I'm making a great assumption, aren't I? I have fans that, would you come to Bulgaria? Yeah. If you would like for me to appear at your local con, y'all have little bitty states up there. I live in a country. You have to drive 10 hours for a year in another state. But y'all can just pop on over. Oh, let's go to Boston. Let's go to New Hampshire. Anyway, I will appear. If you want to meet me, I want to meet you. Here's how you do it. This is how you do it. I'm showing my age. You reach out to the con, not just you, but like 72 of your friends. It can't just be a couple people. And have the con people reach out to my agent at powelltalent.com, as in Wendy Powell. You don't do that because you'll just get deleted. Like if you're a fan that wants me to come to your con, thank you. You don't reach out to my agent. You find out who the con people are, request me, and we'll be up there and, snack on a sandwich together or whatever. I love it so much. I love the love that I feel. Traveling gets a little stressful, but I want to meet you. Love to come to Connecticut. Connecticon, isn't it like that? Something like that?
Yeah, that's in Stanford, and then there's Terrific Con.
Oh, well, I feel terrific. So, yeah, get me there. Okay, I'll let you have your show back. Oh, I do want to show you this. Funny story before we leave William T. Spears. So what's funny, I've never met Grell. I'm actually kind of friends. J. Michael Tatum plays Sebastian. And he directed me before I knew that he was a voice actor. Anyway, a couple of years ago, we're at the studio. And we're chatting. He's such a great guy. And he said, Barry, and unlike me, he does not have a face for radio. The fans know. He's very attractive. And his husband, my God. Anyway, I digress.
Didn't Brina Palencia introduce him to his husband?
What?
Brina Palencia, from my understanding, introduced him to his husband.
I would not be surprised. And that's another name I adore. She's brilliantly talented. She had to musically direct me. We had never worked before, even though we were on Black Butler together. She had to musically direct me at the end of the final scene in Black Clover, and I had to sing in Japanese. And I sing, but I don't speak Japanese. But she's got it out of me. I adore her. She's a talented musician. And, of course, SCL. She's just candy, But he goes, Barry, they ship our characters, don't you? I didn't know what that meant. I said, what does that mean? Does it involve a boat? And he explained they put us in relationships, whatever. I was like, oh, well, hey, it's J. Michael Tatum. It could be worse. I decided to jump on the bandwagon and ship myself. So you come to, this is great of Henderson. It's a metal prep. You come to a Comic-Con. Of course, there's William. It's metal. It's gorgeous. But check this out. Shipping myself. Staring into Grell's eyes. I think they call that Grellium, right? Maybe. Now, this one, I'm really putting my toe on the line. It's not inappropriate, but it's kind of steamy. Me and Sebastian. Oh, he's got my tie in his mouth. Okay. Next.
This was the day when the show got canceled. Oh.
Well, I didn't tell you that the prints are scratch and sniff. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
So many things I could say to that.
Wait,
I'm gonna
save it
plead.
up to when I come to Connecticut and you can tell me in person.
I'll probably host the panel you'll be on.
That would be great. I'm kind of fun on a panel. I had a blast last weekend. We did match game, which a lot of you don't know what that is. We had so much fun. It was all voice actors, like really big deals, and me. I'd always dreamed as a child of hearing boom, boom, ba dun 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 dun. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. You know him as Montclair, Barry Yandell, and standing and waving. It was such a bucket list thing of mine. I feel like I was really on the match game.
Oh my gosh, so many things I could say. So many things I could say. All I want to do is just drop this in there.
Oh,
That's old. That's like Code Geass.
it looks familiar. I don't even remember.
That was Code Geass, Akito, like the Exile, as like Galliford or Freud. But it's not important. It's not important. I just know that because I'm a Code Geass fan. So I'm like one of those kids that just knows it. But I digress.
Well, another one that people, it's not as known, but there's super fans. Black Clover, but also Dwarf Shaman from Goblin Slayer. I know I heard about the first episode. I wasn't on it and I didn't see it. Yeah, there's some big fans of that one. And I'm real proud of that work.
That's a great show. That's a great show.
And the movie, we did a movie of it too.
Very controversial, that show, because of the first episode.
But only because of the first episode. I think it settled down after that, didn't it?
It did, but I thought they came out swinging, and they set the tone and brilliant. And I want a season 2 and a season 3. Yeah. I really do, because it's a great show.
Jaw hit the floor with that first episode, from what I understand. I still haven't seen it.
Yeah. Such a good show. And then we got to talk about Dragon Ball, because obviously you were in GT, but then you've been in a bunch of other stuff with Dragon Ball, in and out. I think you've been in Dragon Ball Kai as a bunch of different characters. I think you were Mori. Yeah. And you were a bunch of other characters. And
also on the video game DBZ Kakarot, I was Elder Mori.
So what is that like to be in Dragon Ball Z? Because that's like the show.
Like, that's the pinnacle. And those are the true OGs. You know, the lovely Stephanie Neldani. You'll see her at con. She's everywhere, and I love her. She's Kid Goku, you know. And then, like I said, Vegeta and Krillin, which are just brilliant actor, directors, and human beings. Christopher Sabat, I worship. He does a great impersonation of me. I do one of him too, but here's the deal. That Vegeta All Might voice, that's his natural speaking voice, and I'm so jealous. That's the way he talks in real life. So I've name is Tabitha. Tabitha, how are we doing on paper towels and toilet paper? And then I'm like, he does impersonation of me. He goes, this guy is so great. By the way, if you want to watch a beautiful movie, and it is free on YouTube with ads, it's called Jiangxia, Jiang space Ziya. It is like a Chinese, not Japanese, Pixar film. I'm so creepy, and it is beautiful. Tia Ballard was my director. It stars Ian Sinclair, Christopher Bell, Lucy Christian, Monica Rial. I mean, it's like a superstar award-winning cast. And me, I'm so creepy. But when I went in to work on it, Tia Ballard, who you know is Happy the Cat, she's like, I'm so excited to be our villain. This is such a beautiful movie. And I'm like, oh, you anime people think everything's so beautiful. They pulled it. It's beautiful. I'm so creepy. Oh, Brina Palencia, I think is that. Oh, no, Lucy Christian. Lucy Christian is the lead girl. But Christopher Sabat was doing an interview about that movie. He goes, and then there's this other gentleman. He's an older gentleman. I looked it up. I'm 5 years older than Chris. I've just been rode hard and put up with. He goes, and he cannot take it back. We're putting it on my website because I said, you cannot take this back. He goes, probably the finest character actor in all of Funimation. Really? Thanks. He goes, and it's so funny because on the street, you'll hear him say, My name's Barry Yandell. I just love being a voice actor, and it's so much fun. He goes, and then he gets in the booth. He's like, I will kill you. So I take that as a compliment because that means I'm a good actor. I can become someone else and fake you out. I'm not that impressed with Christopher Sabat. That's his natural, beautiful, rich voice. So he just speaks. He's not working as hard as I am. Anyway, I don't remember where we were going with that. I had an ADH moment. Except, Jiang Xia. Seriously, why it is so gorgeous. It held my attention, and that's hard to do. I did want to share with you, even though you were going to ask about it. People used to say, "What's your favorite character you ever voiced?" And I couldn't decide. I did the old thing. Well, they're like your children. One's a bull. I have a favorite. I'm very close to Bun Clay, and he's very special. If you know of a show that I haven't seen, I am going to watch this though, called Soul Eater. The favorite. It's not my biggest character, but I voiced the
It's a little character,
the
right?
little red demon. He's little, but I never impersonate people for my characters, but I channel them. For Black Clover, Gifts, so I didn't mean to channel Carol Channing. Look her up. She's gone now, but you won't know who she is, half of you. But she kind of sounds like this, and I didn't mean to do that. But the director goes, I love it. I said, I didn't mean to, but I think I channeled Carol Channing, who I've met before, and she's lovely, was lovely. So for this character, I channeled two actors. One, you will not know who she is. Mercedes McCambridge. She was nominated for an Oscar for her work on the movie Giant, but she's best known as voicing the character of Pazuzu in The Exorcist. You know, the one that says, "It's a wonderful day for an exorcism." And then I channeled her along with one of my favorite actors, Burgess Meredith, known for Twilight Zone, Rocky, Grumpy Old Men, but most notably, he played the Penguin on the Batman TV series. So the two of them blended is how I came up with this rich character, so multifaceted, because he's a little scary, a little funny, a little sexy, a little creepy, whatever. When he says, swing, 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 the jazz is so much more appropriate at nighttime. So that's my favorite. Although I've really fallen in love with Spy Family Harry Henderson.
Let's talk about that.
The elegance. Yes, you're so quick on the draw. Everything must be out. And when he freaks out and starts bouncing around like Daffy Duck, going, oh, elegant, elegant, oh, elegant. I do like that.
Yeah, so what is that like? Because Spy Family is just taking things over, for lack of a better word. It's a really popular show. I actually have not seen it yet. It's on my docket, but it's just been pushed aside.
Well, it's cute. Every once in a while, it'll go a little heavy, a little dark, but it's very family friendly, and it's just cute. And the actors are brilliant on it. I think I told you earlier, I was the only actor who did not audition for that role. They just knew it was me, and I'm honored by that. But it held my attention, and he's so snooty and so fabulous. Like I said, you'll hear a touch of Bun Clay, a touch of Yoki, but I actually watched it because it is also available on Hulu, and a lot of you have Hulu. And it's only like 9 to 12 episodes, I think. I mean, sit down and watch it. You will be glad you did. And that coming from a person that doesn't watch a lot of anime, I really enjoyed.
Well, I'm not anti-Spy Family. It just hasn't gotten. I haven't gotten to it yet. That's the problem. Is that?
Well, I knew it was a big deal when a friend sent me a picture of Barnes and Noble, and half the store was Spy Family. I was like, "Wow, what have I gotten into?" You know, it's probably like Mark Hamill. Star Wars is supposed to be a flop. Wow, people are lined up. This is a big deal. That's kind of a mini version of Mark. By the way, someone wished me happy birthday once, and because of my little demon character, they said, "Who's with me? If Mark Hamill ever stops playing the Joker, Barry Yandell for the Joker." I was like, "Yes, please." Well, he doesn't voice the Joker anymore, and guess who else doesn't? So give me a pop.
And then obviously, I mean, Spy Family's killing it, and who knows what's going to happen with Spy Family. There might be more, but obviously, I'm looking forward to it if there is. If there's not, it's still a fantastic show.
Special. Yeah.
But I do want to dive and talk about one more role and then sort of end it at that point. And you've
Yeah.
done some work in Borderlands.
Yeah.
And so Borderlands is a fun video game. And I think you were Carlo the Bandit. I think you're Willem's interviewer. I think you were like Chartreuse LeChance and another
That's a
one.
Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. So in Borderlands, I think I'm Loggins and Fink and somebody else. But I'm mostly known for a character, and without going into detail, I still have not figured out why I named this Flesh Stick. My dearly departed dad would try to act interested and support me. He'd be like, "Oh, what'd you do today?" I tell him, he goes, "Well, what characters did you play?" Blah, blah, blah. But my name was Flesh Stick, and he looked confused, like, what kind of game is this? But anyway, yeah, without going into detail, perhaps some of you have the scratch and sniff version of that game as well. But yeah, just last year, we did Tiny Tina's. And, with COVID, I did that entire game in my friend. It's the last time I was in the closet. My friend Charlie is a fan. So I own Airbnbs and I have studios and closets. But when I'm in a hotel, when my Airbnbs are booked, I don't have a master closet. So I had to go to Charlie's place. The entire video game of Tiny Tina's was voiced in his master bedroom closet during COVID. And Gearbox would bring the equipment over and kind of. Now, in COVID, a lot of us had to voice shows. We had to be our own engineers. I hate that. I'm an actor. I'm not an engineer. But Gearbox sent the equipment and the engineer. So all of Tiny Tina's, which it's funny, I did a character named Chartreuse LeChance. And it's clearly French, and yet I did it with like a parody Irish accent, but they liked it. And it was I love being stretched as an actor since I had to play the ghost of a gay pirate. I know. There are so many things I could say right now, Connecticut boy.
I'm just going to take the fifth.
All right.
That's all I'm going to do is just take the fifth on that because I agree. I agree, and I have no personal or professional response.
Yeah.
I have been silenced, is the point.
Well, I know you were worried that I wouldn't say much of anything and you'd have to come up with 80 questions. But, I talk. You didn't know me. I yap and yap and yap. And you're like, I would love to ask my third question. Go ahead.
So obviously, I mean, I've missed a bunch of roles that you've done, and I think you have like 190 to 200 minimum, and you've been in everything in some fashion or another. But I do want to back out of a bunch of your roles. I think I hit the main ones. We're working on getting you a Pop Funko at Bon Clay.
You're going to. Hey, something that people forget about. Talk about old school. Case closed. Detective Conan. What about Shin Chan? Hysterical. I'm the funnel cake man and the clone of Hitler. I am so proud. He's always running around with his little butt crack hanging out, needing to pee and stuff. If you haven't seen Shin Chan, do yourself a favor. And in Japan, there's they serve snacks like chips and candy and stuff of Shin Chan. You got to watch Shin Chan. And then Pop Team Epic. That's a big one. Different actors we play different voices for different characters. But I'm Popagayu, and I came in and they showed me a little blonde girl with pigtails. I was like, really? Okay. I mean, I played females before. I started in Victoria, ended in drag, and I played in Wizard of Oz. I was Miss Gulch and the Wicked Witch of the West. I was brilliant. But they showed me this little blonde character. I was like, okay. They said, oh, and by the way, she's in this portion of the show, she's the leader of a punk rock band and a chain smoker. So I remember my character looked down at a little cuckoo clock and it went cuckoo, and I went, oh, how adorable. you're really starting to piss me off. So, Pop Team Epic. I've never seen it, but I remember recording it, and I know it's a favorite. It's weird.
I haven't seen it either, so now I know what I'm doing today.
Yeah.
But I do want to back out of all your roles, and I am curious because we touched upon it a little bit. Where do you see voice acting going? Because there's been a lot of changes in the last 20 years on how things are recorded, how things are coming over, the popularity of anime.
Yeah.
I don't think that this will get us in trouble. Sony bought Funimation and Crunchyroll for 1.2 billion or 1.3 billion. That's a lot of money to buy something, and it's clear that they didn't buy it to be charitable. They obviously see potential in making money with it.
Well, Ken Fukunaga, the original, he sold it for like way less and then sold it back and whatever. He did very well. He was a smart guy because we really didn't have that much anime over here, and he saw a future in it. And boy, I wish I was him. With artificial intelligence, that's a little something to be scared about. But no, I just think it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I've hit upon something. Of course, I love anime. Somebody asked me at a con once or something, would you ever consider doing a Disney villain? No. Of course. It's my ultimate dream. I mean, I should have been Ursula in the new little Melissa McCarthy. I haven't seen her yet. I heard she's great. But no, I think it's only up from here. And video games are becoming so much more intelligent. I will tell you this, to give you an example. By the way, nobody's asked me that question. That's a great question. When I did Dragon Ball GT back in those days, I would voice something and get excited when they released the DVD 5 months later. A couple of years ago, I'm working. I think it was Alex Tipton. I don't know. That's my director. I voice a show called, we always get hungry when we watch it. I wish I was on Food Wars. It's not Food Wars. It was Restaurant to Another World.
Great show. Great show.
Thank you.
I love that show. It's so good. It's so good. Chris Sabat is so good in that show.
He's brilliant. But anyway, thank you very much. I haven't seen it.
Continue.
And I voiced on like a Thursday night, okay? Probably like 6 or 7 o'clock, Thursday. The following Monday, they had me back in to voice. Now remember, in the old days, 5-6 months. I walk in, and the director's so sweet. She goes, "Oh, you're back. I love your character. And by the way, the fans think your character is charming." I went, "Oh, wait, how do they know?" She goes, "Oh, you aren't aware? You voice, and 2 days later, it streams." I had to pick my teeth up off the floor. I was like, "What? 2 days?" I said, "Didn't it used to be like?" She goes, "Months back." She goes, "Yeah, 2 days later." And I know with Spy Family, someone had said, "Oh, I saw Spy Family." I said, "Oh, what episode was it?" He said, "It was the one where you're the dodgeball or whatever." I said, "Are you kidding? I think I did that last week." What? So, yeah, as technology improves, yeah, I think we've got a good life ahead of us, at least before I die. I don't see that anime is going to be like, "Oh, that's so good. That's so, 2020." But I hope not, because I want to just get bigger and better. And again, it would let the fans down. And I look out for my fan. I want y'all to be happy. So, and I know there's stuff. People are really nice to me. I've never had that bad of reviews. Oh, someone might say like, "Oh, I much prefer the sub actor to Barry Yandell," and I'm like, "That's great. That's your opinion. I don't get my feelings hurt." But more often than that, I hear lots of praise, and I'm not gonna lie. I get a big head. Feels pretty good. But I think, I don't think it sounds good. I am good at what I do. Am I the best out there? Probably not. Lots of people better. But I'm proud of the work that I do, and it honors me that y'all even care. So please keep caring, and I'll come and meet you in your at your local con.
Well, I'll request for ConnectiCon.
Please.
So I think it'll be fun. It'll be amazing. As soon as you get your Pop Funko, so we can all get it signed. Um,
Well, I'll
but
take you out for a drink, and you'll tell me all the things you were holding back on sale.
I'm holding back nothing. I'm holding back nothing. But I digress. But obviously, I'm very appreciative that you're on my show. Just want to say that big fan of Yoki,
Honor.
big fan of Bon Clay. Enjoy Bob as well as Black Butler. Some of the stuff I haven't seen yet that you're in, but obviously I'm gonna go check it out as soon as I make room on my docket. A lot of good shows are out there, guys. I'm sorry. But I do want to give you a chance to promote yourself. So where can
Thank
people
you.
find you, bother you, hit you up, get your metal prints if they can't meet you at a con, check
Yeah.
out what you're doing, watch anime legally, do something else that's supportive. I don't know. I'm out of
Well,
ideas.
no, I so appreciate that because promotion is a lot of important to our career, and because I don't want to be caught, I fail to do it a lot of times. So thanks for the reminder. Um, don't request follow me on Facebook. I get political and stuff. Follow me on Instagram. It's about pedicures, sushi, Broadway, voice acting, Comic Cons, massage, and
The
world
stuff
travel.
that matters in life, right?
Yeah, the important stuff. And it's just Barry Yandell, no spaces, all over Barry Yandell. Now there is, if you feel so inclined, there's some sweet groups that have done I think fans of Barry Yandell or Barry Yandell fan club or something like that. Feel free, but I don't. I guess you just put that. I don't know because I didn't start it. Please contact Funko Pop for a Bug Clay thing. I think I've mentioned that a couple of times earlier. Um, my website has been under construction for about 2.5 years, and it has not been um, finalized yet. I would love to get some prints or metal prints in your hands. Um, I don't really have an easy way for you to do it online. Um, if you're really interested, contact me on Instagram. I'd probably have to tack like $5 onto it for shipping, especially the metal prints. But if you're really interested, I don't know for sure when this is airing. Or is this live? What is this?
We're live. We're live.
Oh, hi, everybody. We're live. I'm leaving June 13th for New York. Then I'll be in Italy, back in New York, and then Boston and Cape Cod. Not far from you. Um, Connecticut's not far. I'm going to be, dude, Andrew, I'm not kidding. I'm going to be I'm not going to say where, but I'm going to be in Manhattan. And aside from Broadway shows, I mean, it's not that far of a little train ride from you. You got to contact me and we can meet for a snack, or at least karaoke. Uh, I want to hear you sing I Feel Pretty, and I'll join in. If you reach out to me, there is a chance maybe we could Venmo and I could send you that or whatever. But if not, the best way is just have me at your city and we can do it live and in person and meet and autograph and have a grand old time. Um, I don't do Twitter, even before the evil people all took over. I had a problem with it. I was just like, never mind. Instagram's best. Keep watching. You can always mail fan letters to Crunchyroll. All my friends get them. I don't get them very often, and I feel like a loser. So help with my mental state. Um, but yeah, keep watching. I'm hoping to be on Chainsaw Man soon, even if I'm townsperson number 3 that gets my nose chopped off.
And then
Anything else? I think I promoted enough. Just I've already told you, Powell Talent, but not you, the fans, the con organizers. But if you'll reach out to your con, like lots of you, not just one or two of you, they are interested in having people that you want there. And I'm hoping and praying that you're not lying to me, that you really want me to see. I'm a lot of fun at cons. I'm very approachable, lots of fun. So let's do that. Let's meet.
And then since it's my show, I'm going to promote myself briefly. Obviously, I appreciate people supporting you and doing what you're doing, and that's super important. I can't reiterate that enough. That if you like something, you need to support it. And supporting is not just economics, but it's also following on social media, sharing out, requesting, watching anime legally is a big one. Just collectively, or any media getting it legally is a big deal right now. And then as far as I'm concerned about me, obviously I am Pop Anime Comics on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You could find me on Facebook and you could request to friend me. Depending on who you are, I may or may not accept you. It's nothing personal. It's beyond that. No, joking. But seriously, also YouTube, it's Pop Anime Comics. I really appreciate when people interact with me on social media. It makes a big difference and it matters. I also have a T-shirt up there. It's making fun of Gundam. So if you want to buy my T-shirt, it's on Redbubble, 17 different colors. But again, nobody needs to do anything, and that helps support this show. So that's everything that I got going on with that. And that's pretty much everything that I got going on. Again, I appreciate when people actually support the show and share it out because that's really what matters to me. And yeah, and I guarantee you, and I always say this, is I also have 500 interviews up on YouTube. So there's an interview for everyone on my channel, from cosplayers to wrestlers to voice actors to comic creators and writers and a bunch of other people. I have had a crypto expert on my show. So you name it, I've had everybody on my show. But I digress right there. And I'm going to give you the final word.
Well, just sincerest thanks. It's an honor to. Sometimes it's hard to catch me. I stay pretty busy, but you gave me plenty of notice. I thank you for that. Again, it's an honor anytime y'all take an interest in my work. It kind of validates me and makes me feel a little bit more successful. Kind of makes my day. So I'm always feel on top of the world whenever I finish one of these interviews. It's hard to get it started, get everything set up and everything right, but then I always feel really great. And this has been an especially gratifying one. So who knows? In a couple of weeks, I might see you in Manhattan if you want to take the train. So thanks. Keep watching. Thank you. And I hope to see you in your part of the world soon. Bye.
Well, I don't think I could have said that any better myself, everybody. And that